What? Hello, scribes, sovereigns, initiates, masters of self and law. Here is the telephone recording from the DVLA some months ago, where I rang up to inquire and let them know that there'd been a transfer of titles with regards to private property, formerly the Iron Horse that they have registered with themselves, non-disclosed trust set up there, ending up with the man being assumed as the legal person, the Mr., having legal possessory title, and I was letting them know that the trust has asked me to inform the DVLA that the titles have changed to the property, and Mr. David, the legal person, my persona, is no longer classified as the trustee, legal possessory title, etc., hold there as the V5 registered keeper, and that the vehicle is private property and it's in a trust as an asset, and the DVLA's records are incorrect. So if you just bear with me, I'm going to play the recording, omit the details of the agents, and we'll see where we end up. Enjoy this. Shout going out to Gertej.
Welcome to DVLA. To discuss a driving license or medical conditions, please press 1. Or to speak about a vehicle, press 2. To return to these options at any time, before we direct you to your selected option, if you'd like to know how DVLA handles your personal data, press 1. If not, please hold. You are now through to the vehicle inquiry section. We now have 5 options for you. For all road tax and so
Can I help you? Hello?
You're on speakerphone, sorry, it's been in the queue. Good morning, good day.
How are you doing today?
I need some information, please, my good man, if that's okay.
No problem. I'll certainly try and help you. What type of information are you looking for?
The vehicle that is listed with you has become private trust property. The titles to the property have changed, and now I am no longer legally responsible for it. I am the beneficiary who uses the property. The DVLA and the operatives there, your title, the CEO, the title has changed. The trust manager told me to ring up and let the DVLA general public, of the United Kingdom. You're a public United Kingdom company, he said, and I need to let you know that the property that you believe is public is now gone private, and I'm obliged to let you know. I have a notice here and a bill of sale for this property where he says in law that will tell a judge, a courtroom, and anybody that's trust trained that it is not possessory title I have, David, on the V5. I am now the beneficiary. My wife is the owner, and
right.
The trustee position has changed, so you need to be told about that. And he told me to ring you, so I'm doing that to tell you.
Right, okay.
And things have changed, my good man. Thank you.
Right, I'll have a look through what I can advise now, because if I'm honest, I think this is something that would have to be written into a particular department. I'll deal with it for you.
He did say that. He says you'll have to find out the guys that you need at the DVLA. I said, okay.
Yeah, that's right. So, essentially, this is all to do with a property now, not a vehicle or anything like that. It's an actual property that you're trying to let us know it's now become private.
You've got it registered at the minute as a vehicle public, and he says it's now private property. It means you have to let them know. It changes it, otherwise you'll never know. So I said I'll do that straight away. Yes, it's no longer public property; it's private property for a trust as well. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'll just pop you on a brief hold, and I'll find out on how you can go about getting that notified to us then. All right. Just show me 2 seconds, Al. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you, my good man.
Thanks for your patience. Apologies for keeping you waiting. I'm still looking into this now for you. Just a quick question for you first. Now, I know you said that the property's become private trust property, yeah? Does the or anything then? Does this mail actually been delivered? Like, is a postman still able to post details to the property?
The post details, I beg your pardon, yes, the details, addresses and things have changed. The nature of the ownership has changed, yes, so that's correct.
Right, okay, so the actual address
Property and titles have changed, yes, that's correct, which is what we need to notice you of, yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah, so I won't be too sense, and I'll go to another department just so I understand what's happened then, and hopefully they'll be able to guide me in the right direction so I can...
It's gone from public to private, essentially. It's with you publicly, It needs to be with you privately or taken out, either or. We either go from public to private, my advocate said, or it comes off the register at the...
All right, so then no mail or anything essentially gets sent there, like...
Eventually, yeah, it would become exempt from levy and charge, he said, because it's private now. It's what happens with private property. I've never done this before. It's the first time I've set, you know...
Yeah, we'll be honest, it's the first time I've heard of something like this myself.
Yeah, it's not, I thought, you'd done it, but I'm a bit confused myself. It's the first time I've done this.
So, with the vehicle, is it a vehicle then? Definitely a vehicle we're talking about at the moment, is it?
No, it's now private property. It was a vehicle when it was public. Now it's been transfer of titles and put into a trust. It now is private in law. So it was public, and now it's private. Now it requires you to be notified of that, yes, and do what you need to do, because it's no longer as it was registered. Those details are incorrect now. There is a new owner.
I understand obviously with a new owner and that, but I just want to make sure, are we talking about a vehicle, or are we talking about an actual physical building, like an address?
Yeah, we're talking a road vehicle, yes. I have a registration
a road vehicle
number. It's with you now, yes. And it's
right, okay, because when I went after I have a quick check for that, I was thinking under the terms of it being a building then for a second.
No, it was a vehicle, and now it legally...
It's now in private property now, right, okay.
That's it.
Do you want to have a registration number for when it was registered with us, so I can go back to a different department and look into that for you? Double check this for you.
Yeah, once you work out what we need to do, I'll by all means give you the details and the registration and chassis and so forth. But first, I'd like to know who and what we do with it, please. Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll go in brief. I'll go speak with a different department who should be able to give me the answer now, or if not, point me in the right direction for you. Okay.
Oh, my good man. Thank you. I appreciate this. Thank you.
Thank you for your patience. Okay, I'm sitting with the other department now at the moment for you. Okay.
Hello.
Now, I know you mentioned obviously you'd be exempt from like levy charges. Now, are you looking to stop anything being issued out for the vehicle, like letters or anything like that, for this particular vehicle, or are you looking? What type of levy were you on about earlier? Is it like a road tax levy, or is it to do with like emission zones or anything like that?
All of it, everything. Lawfully, I'm obliged to update the agency. You're an agency, and you're required in law to be updated with the new positions.
Yeah.
And that would ideally affect the Chief Executive Officer and the Chief Financial Officer of the agency. You're registered under United Kingdom contract law, okay? So under United Kingdom contract law, we have to operate and oblige and inform. And once I've done that, I'm letting you know that the title has gone from me being legal trustee to the beneficiary, and somebody else is the owner, and so therefore, in law, that changes everything over from you and me and to the trust. So I either need to delete the vehicle from the database or classify it as private property. I don't think that's what needs to be done, but you have to, as the agent today for the corporation, you tell me what I do and whether I contact the executive officers and direct them via notices, or whether you have a procedure. It's equivalent like an export. It's gone from UK to England and Wales. You've heard of both of those land matters, yes? You know about Brexit and the trade deal with the UK, but it's now property of England. It is listed legally as public vehicle United Kingdom, but in law, it's moved now to a trust as private property, not a vehicle, of England and Wales.
I'd like just to interject there. It's actually on Britain, in Britain, on Britain, terra firma. It's not England and Wales. I made a mistake there, okay? So those listening, you can choose England and Wales for legality if you want, or like myself, you can be lawful man authentic being of Britons, on the Brit on the land. All right, continuing on. Sorry.
And Wales Express Private Trust is where it's at, and I need to let you know that that's been done. So when he's talking about exemplification, it's complete removal. The status has changed, titles have changed. Yeah, public is now gone to private, the vehicle has gone to property, and instead of the legal title being at the DVLA, it's now with the grantor of the trust. You know, so the item is a res in the trust, which is in England and Wales. So you reclassify it or you remove it. It's one or the other. The registration plate is no longer required. It's identified via its chassis number. The identification presently was a registration plate. That registration plate will be required to be turned into an insignia instead, which would be an identifying private plate. And the chassis number is what it's identified with presently as a private property. So it's all of that, what you mentioned, and lawful positions need to be done, which involve the executive and the financial officer of the corporate DVLA. I've just had my other man on the phone, my advocate, and asked him what I need to convey to you today.
Yeah.
He's just given me some notes in a text message to read to you.
All right, okay. Yeah, with that, obviously, I'll try and work out now, because they need a bit more information to try and work out what exactly you were looking to do. That seems to clear it up a bit more then. So, I won't be 2 seconds. I'll go back to them now.
It's effectively an export, I believe, and a title change, involving officers of the financial and executive.
So essentially, it's no longer with the DVLA, it's with the
trust, and England and Wales. It's gone from United Kingdom public to England and Wales private, and you need to be told about this. I'm obliged to inform you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
To do that now. All right, buddy.
I do apologise for the delays. I'm trying to get you to the right conclusion on how to get this sorted.
Effectively, it's like an export. In reality, if you want to know whereabouts it would be, it's been exported from the UK to England and Wales. It's gone from public to private, and it needs removing from the registrar, or it needs amending to be exempt, one or the other. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'll go through now and see what they can help with now then. Well, 2 seconds. Thank you again.
Brilliant. Thank you, my good man. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your patience. Apologies for that.
Hello there.
Okay, so after speaking with the department now, what they were advised, it's best to write to this particular department, and they should be able to get this sorted and take it from there then. Do you have a pen and paper?
I do, yes, indeed.
Yeah. So the address to write to will be DVLA.
Yeah.
Swansea.
Yeah.
SA 99.
Yeah.
1 Bravo Alpha, 1 BA. Now, there's no particular department to send it. We just send it to them because the postcode is directly for the team that will deal with it. Now, with writing to them, just include any documents you may have for the vehicle when it was registered with the DVLA.
Yeah.
So, do you have a logbook by any chance at the moment?
The V5 that's now incorrect. Yes, that's right.
So send that so we know what vehicle we're looking at. Include a cover letter, just briefly explaining what's happened with it so they understand. Yeah. They should be back in touch then within 2 to 4 weeks, letting you know it's been updated.
Yeah.
And then that should be all in place then, and then at least you've got the information to say it's been done. Because it's likely, especially if it's gone from being a vehicle owned by ourselves to being privately owned then by the trust, it's likely that logbook then, as you said, it become invalid then. So
he said a vehicle owned by ourselves, if you rewind that little bit there, okay? Those of you that didn't catch that. Interesting.
Issue then, you just continue as you would. Now we identify, as you said, with a chassis number. But by writing into them, they'll be able to look into it, get it sorted, including their, obviously, email addresses or contact numbers for you. Because if there is any questions then, they can always get back in touch with you.
Details, you give you the trust details.
Yeah, exactly, put the trust details in there, yeah.
For it, so it needs to be appointed at some point, and we need to look at furthermore to this then. Now we've got this part that I would then point out in this paperwork that previously the Mr. David would have been the trustee with legal possessory title. By the way, my good man, this is all fantastic news to me to find out at the age of 41 when I'm I'm a worldly traveller, and I consider myself quite knowledgeable in all of the essential areas of life and our civic, social sector. So trust I've heard of before, and I've heard of it as an entitlement procedure, but I've looked into it and gone and took some training and an expert in trust and equity to look at asset management, asset protection, and lo and behold, our sons and daughters are assets. Have you heard that? John is a real asset to you. Well, yes, it's very, very crazy at the minute what I've learned. So yeah, I will. Of course, let them know that the trustee, as I've mentioned, the executive officer and a financial officer, according to the articles of memorandum at the Companies House, Dun & Bradstreet, the governing financial institutions of registration and licensing.
I would argue the articles of memorandum and association at Companies House, not Dun & Bradstreet. Okay, there's another little amendment there.
They say that somebody this end can be a trustee as well. So I'll put all this in the notices to that address.
That would be making somebody in a trust a trustee. You don't need to be aware and told and informed you're a trustee to be a trustee. So we have the Secretary of State for Transport, Grant Shapps, and you have the Chief Executive Officer of the DVLA, which is Julie Leonard. All right? Here we go again.
You've given me a generic address for the agency at Swansea, so there's no office, no department. It's just going to get opened in the normal inbox route, isn't it, there?
Yeah, they'll get that sorted, and they'll get directed then to the particular team then that can help that then for you. They'll be able to get this sorted.
Is there a name for this particular team, or a department, or a functionality?
No, unfortunately, I haven't got a particular name for them. But this address, it goes directly to teams that deal with any changes with vehicles, and they should be able to get you to the right place and get someone to get into contact if need be, or to get it sorted straight off the bat then for you.
Well, they need to confirm the details have changed and the data on their systems reflects the content of this call, and it, as I've said and tried to point out to this agent today. So we will expand upon this further in the private on the .com. All right, Gertej, scribes, FAM, scholars, masters. All right.
Well,
you said 2 to 4 weeks, so I will put that 21 days then is about that time. I would notice 4 lots of 5, working 2 weeks, so that would be a 20 a month. And I would like to send this then signed for recorded, traced because of the nature of it, and it goes.
Certainly I understand. Yeah,
recorded and monitored, and then it won't get lost that way. There will be a signature required, special delivery. So I would need a name to put on that for somebody to sign on that behalf. So before we close this call down today, whom is it that I can send the mail to? There must be somebody appointed to receive mail at the vehicle licensing agency.
Unfortunately, I don't actually have a name of who would sign, because if it is the DVLA sign for it, there's whoever's there, they're completely separate to our building. We're just essentially an advice line. We don't know who works at the mail or signs for it or anything like that, unfortunately.
There's nobody appointed there that for the office, take the mail, the postman comes, he needs a signature, somebody must be there to sign to the signature.
There would like to be, if it's the DVLA that sign for it, there will be someone there to obviously sign when it gets to them. But other than that, I know that with other mail, like just normal recorded delivery, not special recorded or anything like that, there's an agreement with the Royal Mail that they'll sign it on behalf of DVLA, because we get loads of recorded delivery. So,
did you hear that one? So those of you that have used special delivery, signed for, you've sent it off to the chief executive of banks like I have, and seen on the receipt that it was signed for, it's 0450, 0550, 0650, because the postman is able to sign for it on the behalf of the dropper offer. Old postman Pat there. Remember, the post office and Royal Mail are 2 separate companies, and he's just given you some beauties in this call. It's full of some nuggets here, isn't it? So there you go. If you've ever wondered how the officers sign when chief executives don't get into work at 10 to 4, 5 or 6, I'd argue about 9:30, 9 o'clock, some of them 8 maybe, at the very earliest. So chalk that one up, all right.
Sometimes it could be the post office assigned for it.
All right, then. There's nobody in particular. There's nobody in particular that I'm using at the moment. So the recording.
This address, it goes directly to teams that deal with any changes with vehicles, and they should be able to get you to the right place and get someone to get into contact if need be, or to get it sorted straight off the bat then for you.
Right.
All right.
You said 2 to 4 weeks, so I will put that 21 days then is about that time. I would notice 4 lots of 5, working 2 weeks there, so that would be a 20 a month. And I would like to send this then signed for recorded trace because of the nature of it, and it going.
Yeah, no, certainly I understand. Yeah,
recorded and monitored, and then it won't get lost that way. There will be a signature required, special delivery. So I would need a name to put on that for somebody to sign on that behalf. So
Listen up.
Before we close this call down today, whom is it that I can send the mail to? There must be somebody appointed to receive mail at the vehicle licensing agency.
Unfortunately, I don't actually have a name of who would sign, because if it is the DVLA sign for it, there's whoever's there, they're completely separate to our building. We're just essentially an advice line. We don't know who works up at the mail or signs for anything like that, unfortunately.
There's nobody appointed there that would, for the office, take the mail. The postman, he needs a signature. Somebody must be there to sign to the
there would like to be, if it's the DVLA sign for it, there will be someone there to obviously sign when it gets to them.
Yeah.
But other than that, I know that with other mail, like just normal recorded delivery, not special recorded or anything like that, there's an agreement with the Royal Mail that they'll sign it on behalf of DVLA, because we get loads of recorded delivery. So it's normally sometimes it could be the post office that sign for it.
Okay.
All right, and, there's nobody in particular that I'm using at the moment, so the recording will do, but for special. Yeah, that's a different setup altogether. So we'll get it recorded down. There's some kind of notice to you with the authorization and requirements, and then you would get back to me and let me know.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why, obviously, have some sort of response email for you or contact number directly to you, so then at least they can get back in touch with you if need be then. All right?
That's fantastic. I appreciate your help today. I'm sorry I didn't come armed with the correct, relevant details.
No, that's fine. That's fine. It's me misunderstanding as well, but hopefully we've got to the bottom of this and we can get the ball rolling for you. Okay?
Yes. I'd be a silly man to ring up the DVLA and talk about a house when you deal with cars.
Yeah, no, exactly.
It made you think of property house rather than property.
Yeah, exactly, but that's fine. It's no problem. But thanks for your call today then, sir.
All right, it's David. I've been David, and thank you very much.
Okay, you've been through the gauge. Okay.
Thank you very much, Gage. Have a great day and cheerio.
That's okay. Thank you, David. Bye.
Thank you, buddy. Bye-bye.
There we go then. So interesting times, eh? Interesting times. That's how the call went, and then I'll let you know what notices I used and authority, and how I laid that out, what verbiage and outline, layout, status, standing capacity, etc. And I have Grant Shapps to communicate with, yet still I haven't got to him. And I've briefly communicated with Julie Leonard, and she hasn't responded. So interesting times. I hope you enjoy that. Much love. I'm not going live tonight, this Sunday night. I'm very tired. This is your I don't know, booby prize, but I don't really think it is a booby prize. This is the exchange. I'm going to have an early night, and we've got a busy week this week, all of us, one way and another. Matt Hancock, he's like the angry dad that's telling us all off, using up too much of the government's time. They've instilled the fear and the panic, and mixed up the numbers and the death certificates showing death by COVID when allegedly there wasn't. And now he's come out and said, we haven't got any tests, the system is falling down, it's your fault for getting tests when you didn't need them. But yeah, Matt, you did come out and say if you think you may have symptoms, you should get tested. And here he is now, like an angry dad, telling everybody off, on about cancelling Christmas because we've all been so naughty. We've got there the lady, the darker skinned sister, Pretty of the Patel, pretty damn awful. Sister Mira did like that. I'll leave it there. She's equivalent to the new female version of a man called Enoch from the past, who said the streets will run red with blood, etc. Not my man, not my words, not my support for him, but Priti Patel and these executives, trustees, secretaries, generals, principals, and the things they come out with. Grassing on your neighbours, would you, Pretty? You'd grass on them, would you? You'd tell on them, just like in Nazi Germany, instead of going round and knocking at the door and saying, I think we might have an issue, can we have a chat about that? No, we're just going to grass on people. Well, I'd urge you all to sort things out in the private. And Matt, shame on thee. Scandals with the schools and the Gavin and his team there with the assessments, scandals with the hospitals being empty and the Nightingales and etc. The equipment, the out of date equipment, the double counting of things. We'll count a left glove and a right glove, then that means we've got double the stock, as if we just count them in pairs. Absolutely farcical, loss of confidence. Move to the private, protect your assets. SPLSpro.com, Facebook, and the private domain www.splspro.com. We are waiting for you. Bless up, much love, and more to come. Alright, I love you. Thank you. See you soon. Butter Moon.